Hello, everybody. Welcome into my latest live broadcast. It is Wednesday, the 17th of November, 2021. My name is Carrie Holzman, and today I've got some news for you. If you haven't already heard, the big Windows 10 update is out today. I usually refer to this as the October update. Clearly, it's the November update now. And this will be the last of the twice a year big updates. Microsoft will now move to a summer update only, second quarter of the year update only, I guess. So basically one big update a year, which I think is a welcome change. And they won't be doing the two big updates anymore. Now, there's nothing really major in this update, but it's always good to have the latest and greatest. It may not be offered to you right away because there's hundreds of millions of computers running Windows 10. And if everybody tried to get it at once, it just ain't going to happen. However, you can force it by hand a couple of different ways. And I thought I'd just go through this process live right now on this new build. Ironically, coincidentally, I was up all night last night trying to get this build finished and installing all the updates, and thought I had all the updates until today. And you know, before I ship a computer, I always like to make sure I have all the latest updates. And so all those computers I've worked on that haven't gone out the door yet will have to have this update put on them. As you can see, Photo Ray was here and did his beautiful cable management work as always. And this is one of 3 systems going to a particular specific customer. And let me go ahead and turn this on. Let's see, I have to flip the switch in the back. Let me turn it on. There it goes. And then we'll go to the HDMI input here. And I'll just make myself a little bit smaller. And we should see a video broadcast in the other, there it is, right in the rest of the screen. And you'll see this thing boots up pretty quickly. At least I hope it does. There it is. And I'm going to go through the process of just checking to see if the update's available. So what that's going to entail, and again, I'm going to just make myself a little bit smaller here. I've got to grab this other keyboard, this other mouse, and we'll go to the start button right down here. And then we'll go to this little gear icon. And then we'll go right over here to update and security and let Windows check for updates. You'll see no updates are being offered. We get this alert that our computer is not Windows 11 ready. Thank goodness. Otherwise, it might install Windows 11. You know, if you leave your computer on, you might wake up in the morning and find it is installed. Now, as you'll see, I'm going to make this window a little bit bigger here. It should be a little easier for everybody to read this. There was a security update. We're going to check for updates again. And I find this annoying. So I can just click the X over here, and it'll push it off to the right. Now you'll see it saying we have no available updates no matter what we do to check it. Now, sometimes it'll appear below here as an optional update to 21H2. But if that should happen, or rather if it doesn't happen like what we're seeing here, then you can go and grab it by hand. And the way you do that is you're going to bring up your browser, and I have the link for this in the video notes below the video, but I would just type in Windows, I got to type it on the right keyboard though, Windows 10 download, and the first link should be Microsoft right there, download Windows 10. And you'll see the Windows 10 November 2021 update right there. And you can hit update now, or you can download the tool. Now the tool is used if you're like me and you're doing a lot of Windows 10 installations and you want to create a new Windows 10 flash drive. You can also use the tool to upgrade the computer you have now, or to just download an ISO image to keep in case you need it in the future, although it's always available to download. This old school methodology of hoarding all the files on your own server, it's sort of outdated now. The internet is basically your library now. But do as you will. Now, what I'm going to do, it could be one of two ways I can do this. I can download the tool, or I can hit the Update Now button. Now, normally I just grab the tool. And with the tool, like I said, I can use that to recreate the USB media for installing Windows 10 with 21H2 already there. And I can upgrade the computer with it, and I can create ISO images or bootable DVDs with it. The Update Now, I don't really ever use that, so I think I'm going to select it to see what it does. So we'll click Update Now, and let me see what it does. It brings down a file here, which I'll click on. Windows, oh, it's bringing up the Windows Update Assistant. Okay, we'll let that run. And I'll close the browser. And it says here you can update to the latest version of Windows 10. And I'll click Update Now. It verifies the computer is compatible with the update, so we hit Next. And now it's going to go ahead and download the files that it needs and begin to install it. Let me move this over just a little bit. There we go. Now, I have found in the past that this process can take far longer than going through Windows Update. At least it did with 21H1, and so I'm expecting it to do the same in 21H2. Personally, I don't care if it takes 2 minutes or an hour. I just set it and walk away either way. I'm not staring at the screen for 2 minutes under normal circumstances. I start it, and then, it's going to say it's got to go to 100%. We're only kicking off, at 0%. I know it's whatever it's going to be. I'm not sticking around to watch it. I have other things to do. So do expect this process to probably take a little longer than if you get it through Windows Update. And again, I'm not exactly sure why that is. I've seen 21H1 install in under 3 minutes through Windows Update and take over an hour by doing it this way. The end result is the same, so I'm not sure what's happening differently. But this is a way to force it now if you don't want to wait. Now, I don't know that there's any real big updates or changes in this November update that are critical. However, they're good to have. It's always good to have the latest updates. Remember, Uncle Carrie always says, stay updated. I don't say stay upgraded. I say stay updated. So these are the big updates. 21H1 came out in the fall, and 21H2 just released today. Come next fall or towards the summer, we should see another big update, and again, just should be annual, once a year from this point forward until Windows 10 is retired in October of 2025. So you don't need to jump to Windows 11 anytime soon. And I hope that Windows, let me try to think how I want to say this. I hope that Windows 11 gets some updates to features and to usability that will justify making that sacrifice to go to a new operating system, which at the very least is inconvenient and having to refamiliarize yourself with the way that it looks and how they've moved things around. So I really need it to have a reason worthy of going through that nonsense, because so far as I can tell, pretty much Windows 10, or rather Windows 10 pretty much does everything Windows 11 does right now currently. So what else did I want to tell you? Tomorrow I'm looking forward to bringing on JJ from Asus. I haven't talked to JJ here on the channel ever. It'll be the first time for his visit here. I've talked to him in person. I've interviewed him numerous times while I was making videos for Newegg. So I'm super excited to talk to JJ. He'll join me remotely. We're going to start off by talking about the new wireless routers, the whole range, the budget, mid-range, and high-end routers. And I think that's probably going to take up an hour. And then I'll have him back, I hope, if I don't scare him away, to talk about motherboards, specifically 12th gen motherboards. And maybe even back again after that to talk about what they're doing with AMD. So I'm super excited to have JJ join us tomorrow. Be sure and check that out. Should be around, I want to say about 2:30 Pacific time, California time. 2:30, 3 o'clock. want to shoot for 2:30. Let's see. I'll make a scheduled video broadcast setup in YouTube for it later tonight when I'm done with this video. So you guys will be able to jump into the chat room and hang out. And what else do I have going on? I've got another build coming up Friday. Of course, Mitch Morrison will be back. And God, there's so much going on. Oh, Black Friday, I'll be doing an Amazon Live video. So I hope you'll be checking that out. That's from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which is noon to 2 o'clock Pacific Time. The deal with RoboForm, remember you guys, I told you I could get you 50, half off RoboForm. That's back on again, and I will make a video just about that. It'll be roboform.com/Carrie. And there's changes happening with the Windows and Office product keys. The whole website is being redesigned, and I will have some information on that. But if you try to buy any of those keys right now, you'll see they're not available as the company is migrating or transitioning to this new layout. So no worries. I'll have more information for you as soon as that information is available, and looking forward to seeing what they're doing to the site and continuing the deals for Windows 10 and Microsoft Office that I've been offering you guys here. That will continue, as I said, for, well, I had promised it for a year, right? I said I was going to keep it for 12 months back whenever I introduced it, which was, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago. So we have at least another 5 or 6 months, I would guess, of that coming up. So I didn't want anybody thinking it's an excuse or something that the site's not coming back. They're definitely coming back. It's just you can't stay stagnant too long in this industry. So there gets to be a time when people decide, hey, it's time that we keep up. And that's all they're doing right now. What else? Any questions for me while we're waiting for this update to complete? I'll be happy to address any questions. Aaron says RoboForm has 35% off. Some people have informed me of a 60% off Malwarebytes license. I don't have any affiliate with that, so I don't know the link or anything like that. Let me check real quickly what the RoboForm discount is. It was my understanding we were already running 50% off. roboform.com/Carrie. Let me just take a look at it. I've been so busy. Oh, this is even better. 60% off new RoboForm subscriptions. That's even better. Let me see if I can grab a window capture of this and share it with you. It's in here somewhere. There we go. So you can see up at the top, I've gone to well, I guess it's changed. Up here, you would, I'm on the wrong screen. Right up here, you would go to roboform.com/Carrie, hit enter, and then that's going to change into that longer URL up there. And you'll see right across this blue bar across the top, special offer from RoboForm for Carrie Holzman viewers. Get 60% off new RoboForm Everywhere subscriptions. Now that's new RoboForm subscriptions. If you have a current subscription that you want to extend, you'll need to contact their support and let them know you're a Carrie Holzman viewer and you'd like to extend your subscription. The maximum allowable subscription time is a total of 5 years that you can have on your account. So your account, if your account has 3 or 4 years on it now, you could add whatever it would take to get you to 5. So 1 or 2 in that scenario. If you're a brand new RoboForm user, of course, you don't need to talk to anybody. Just follow the instructions on the site. Once you get used to using RoboForm, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. It's going to store all your logins and passwords. You no longer need to make bookmarks. You can just use RoboForm to take you to whatever site you want to go to, like you would a bookmark. But instead of just taking it to the site, it will then automatically fill in your name and password and sign you in. So sites like eBay or forums or heck, even YouTube or Google, it can autofill that. Or if you're ordering something online and you've got to put in your first name, last name, street address, apartment number, city, state, zip code, phone number, it can autofill all of that with the click of one button. So it's really, really nice. Once you get used to it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. And the other thing that's really great about RoboForm is you can install that on as many electronic devices as you want. It doesn't change your price. So I have RoboForm on my smartphone, I have it on my work computer, my home computer, and my laptop computer. And there's no limit to how many you can install it on. And that's what your subscription is paying for. It's your access to RoboForm. So when you sign into it, there's your access. So you do have to have a password, of course, to remember for RoboForm. Otherwise, anybody would have all your passwords, logins and passwords, and you wouldn't want that. So you set one really good password for RoboForm, and all those passwords you were using before, let RoboForm change those for you. RoboForm can generate gibberish passwords that are, 14 characters long that you'll never remember. No one would ever remember. And don't use the same password if you have been at multiple sites. It's a big, big mistake. I paid the price for doing that myself. It's never going to happen to you, don't worry, until it happens to you. Taking a look in the chat room, I want to see if anybody had any questions for me. Again, we're just waiting for this. Download's almost done. Jeff Ryman saying good evening from Las Vegas. Patrick Rousseau saying greetings from Syracuse, New York. And B.H. Ringer is saying hello. Lawrence says, hey, Carrie, been missing you terribly since my life has become more full. Wishing you and your family in the chat much love. Thank you. Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you. Walter says he finished building a new system with an i9 11900 with all the usual Carrie features. It's super quiet and fast. Right on. Nice. Patrick says he bought a Windows and Office key the other day with no issues. Yeah, if you try it now, though, I think it'll say they're out of stock or something. But I should have an update tomorrow, Friday. It should be any minute now. And then when I do, I'll make a video specifically for that, and maybe even, walk you through the whole process of how to use the website, how to buy. It seems a little silly to show people how to buy things online, but it seems to be necessary from time to time. So I need that as a reference, so when I get the emails, I can just send them to the video. Vincent Machi contributes $5. Thanks, Vincent. Matthew Thompson says, good afternoon from Tasmania, Australia. Welcome in, Matthew. Vakash says he's from India. Love it. We have viewers from all over the world in here, and it always tickles me to see the reach that my videos have to help people universally and equally around the world. Andre wants to know, is that available here in the Netherlands? I'm not sure which thing you're asking about, the Windows Update, RoboForm, or the Windows and Office keys. RoboForm and the Windows Update, yes. The Windows keys, I don't know. You'd have to go to the site and check. So when it's talking about a 35% off RoboForm, my discount is nearly twice that. So I don't know why you would use it. I see a 35% off discount code, uh, which would save you less money than if you were to just go to roboform.com/Carrie and you don't have to enter any codes at all. And you'll get 60% off. Someone in the chat says, is this a Windows 10 or in a Windows 11 update? I don't know why I put titles on my videos. What video did you click on to watch? Can you tell me the name of the video, please? Harms wants to know, are you going to put the link for product keys for Windows 10 in Office? I will as soon as the new site is up and running. It is not ready yet. But when it is, I absolutely will be including the link, and I will make a video to make you aware that it's up and it's live now. And it'll be a slightly different site. It's not going to be the same site name. It's going to be similar, just a little add-on. All right, you'll see. Again, just looking in the chat room for other technical questions. What is the difference between 21H1 and 21H2? There is a link in the video description below this video where you can read an article from PC World. You could also Google that very question. I don't like to get into the tech minutia here on this channel. You can find that in other places. However, no matter what the update has, whether it's of value to you or not, I strongly recommend that you do not review it. In other words, don't qualify whether or not this update applies to you. This update does apply to you. No matter what it does, whether it's something you think is important or not, you still should be getting this update. So my attitude about what's different about this update is sort of like, what difference does it make? It's free at Microsoft's expense, and it's costing Microsoft well over $1 million to release this update. And when you consider research and development costs and bandwidth costs, I'm sure it's probably several $1,000,000. And you're sort of, it feels like you're turning your nose up at something that's being offered for your benefit. Now, that's your choice if you want to do that. However, if you're just curious or you're of a technical mindset, this channel is really intended for regular computer users and not technicians or people that would ask that kind of technical detail. So we don't like to scare away the people I'm trying to attract, which are the average everyday computer owners. And for that reason, I won't get into those details, but again, you could Google that and then find all that information out. But regardless of what it's doing and what those updates are, I strongly recommend that you install this update. Now, you don't have to do it today, but it would be nice, I think, and in your benefit if you updated, I don't know, by the end of the year. You certainly don't need to be first. You might want to wait a few days just to hear about, there's going to be some people with problems because let's face it, a lot of people have problems. They're not necessarily Windows Update problems. However, they'll say they are. So we'll wait and see if there is anything out of the ordinary. But I went ahead and updated my main machine, and looks like the screen went to sleep. Okay. And so far, I can't really see any difference in the way anything's working. I know I've got better security, and I know there are some enhancements, and it didn't cause any problems, and it didn't cost me any money, and it didn't take very long to install. This is, in fact, taking quite a bit longer to install than when I put it on my other machine. My other machine, it just offered it through Windows Update as an option I had to click on when I manually went to check for updates. For some reason, this one's not doing that, but it has something to do with how Microsoft wants to ration its bandwidth to the hundreds of millions of people that will eventually get this update. Jason Urbank wants to know, he says he's got a Windows 10 Pro license key for a motherboard that no longer works. And he wants to know if it's possible to transfer that Windows 10 license to a virtual machine running Windows 10 Pro. That's between you and Microsoft. There are certain restrictions and certain exceptions depending on the kind of license key you have. So retail key versus an OEM key versus an enterprise key. And then there's all different versions of the keys. Of each one of those, there's different versions, the N version, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In general, an OEM key cannot be transferred to another computer unless you had a motherboard failure or CPU failure. It's generally a motherboard failed exception. So let's say you bought you bought a machine, you built it yourself, or you bought the parts, you built it yourself. Your motherboard's failed. You send the motherboard back to the manufacturer, they send you another motherboard. You go to put your Windows 10 back on, it says, sorry, you can't re-register this Windows 10. You've already registered it before. There's an option to call Microsoft, and you have to call Microsoft. And you have to go through this whole system. They don't make it easy, and they do make you call in order, I'm guessing, to discourage piracy or lying. So you'll get somebody on the phone, you'll tell them, I've just replaced my motherboard and I'm trying to reinstall my version of, my copy of Windows. They'll ask you, how many computers do you have this copy of Windows installed on? And the only proper answer is 0 or 1, right? So you could say, well, I installed it on this one computer that I'm trying to activate right now, and it's not installed anywhere else, so just one. And at that point, they should read off a series of codes for you that you have to type in on your keyboard. There's about 7 groups of 6 digits each that just seem to be random numbers, and you've got to type them in exactly as they're told to you. And then you click the activate button, and then it'll activate, and you're golden until you change the motherboard again or you try to install that Windows 10 again. So if it's a retail license, then it can be moved. That should be no problem. The OEM license can only be moved under that circumstance, that a motherboard had failed. And if your motherboard didn't fail, and you lied to Microsoft and said it did, I'm not quite sure they would know the difference. They would believe you, is what I'm trying to tell you. However, if you were to do that often, they would probably suspect foul play and disable that product key from ever being activated again. So tread cautiously. The good news is, with the Windows and Office keys that I'm offering here, I mean, you're talking about saving $17. It's, if you try to buy Windows 10 Professional from a retailer, you're up to nearly $200. So you think about, you could buy 10 copies of Windows 10 for what, $170? And it would still cost you less than one copy of Windows 10 Professional, generally speaking, for most retailers. And it's the same Windows 10, it activates the same, it's all legit. The same rules apply with regards to moving it from one system to another. It's an OEM copy of Windows 10. So for $17, furthermore, activation isn't really necessary anyway. As long as you don't mind the little, it'll be like a watermark that says Windows isn't activated, may start appearing on the screen, and then you won't be able to customize the screen but it otherwise works. It won't stop working or prevent you from using it. So you can, especially if it's a virtual machine, I can't imagine why you would have any need to activate that. So I wouldn't recommend activating Windows 10 on a virtual machine. I can't understand the reason. I don't think you'd get any benefit from that. So, but again, your machine, it's your money and it's your time. So just sharing my thoughts with you on that. And still installing over here, still doing its thing. It's actually moving along faster than I was I was thinking it was going to move a lot slower than this. So very happy with the progress we're making here. If we did get it through Windows Update, we'd have already been done. So this is a little bit slower. Well, it's a lot bit slower. So again, I'm happy to take any other technical questions while we're waiting, rather, if you've got any questions while we're waiting. I will get all my words in the right order eventually. Herms wants to know if you can make a video on building a supercomputer and what parts to buy. No, you've got to remember that I'm here to connect to non-computer people. I'm here to connect to the average, ordinary person and to speak a language they can easily understand and to not intimidate them or overwhelm them with technical jargon and lingo, especially about stuff that in reality and in all practicality doesn't make much of a difference except to people who work in the industry, and those people already know everything I would tell them and probably more. So it doesn't make any sense to make videos for those people. So this is really a channel that's dedicated to the vast majority of the population of the planet Earth, not just to computer nerds and enthusiasts. Most computer-related YouTube channels are by nerds for nerds, and that's fine. But where's the regular Joe tech stuff? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fill that niche. And I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm just the OG. I'm the guy who started all that. I want to explain this technology to somebody else in a way that I wish somebody else would have explained it to me all those years ago when I was learning. I don't want their learning path to be as difficult and slow as mine was, because there's a resource openly sharing this information for free, if you care to listen, that you will be able to understand, that I can use analogies in plain English to explain what other people might consider to be a very complex topic. Now, I'm not saying, nor am I trying to get any average Joe to become a computer technician. No. I'm just trying to encourage you and inspire you to take control of your own computer. Stop feeling like you don't have control of it. You don't have to be super smart. You don't have to have some special education. And I know a lot of people who are very technical who like to, in a very passive-aggressive way, show off how smart they are. So I don't like that. I don't want to be like that. I don't like it when people do that. I don't like it when a doctor comes into the room in a doctor's visit and starts telling me all these medical terms. And I'm like, do I look like a doctor to you? Why do you ask? Well, because you're talking to me like I'm your peer. I have no idea what half of the Greek words were you just said there. Can you, dumb it down for me so I can understand it? I understand the parts of my body, the liver and the organ. I understand what my body's made up of. But when you start talking about the insides of those parts, I have no idea what most of that means. And the fact that every doctor I've ever met always opens with the technical information that then You have to say, okay, can you explain that? Or you get this really dumb look on your face, like, as they're talking, and they realize they need to dumb it down. I don't know why they do that. And I don't like doing that to a customer. I don't want somebody to do it to me. I don't want to say, well, I had to remove the IRQ out of the device manager in order to avoid a conflict in the RAM. And the customer's like, Google Translate, can you say that again? So yeah, so when I ask if you have any technical questions, I'm doing it under the assumption that you're an average user, not a technical person. Bob Connors contributes $5. He says, hey, Carrie, just got here. Hope I didn't miss much. Here's a small contribution to make up for my tardiness. Have a Gatorade or a Coke on me. Right on, Bob. Thank you. I think I will. The ACEB52 says, I have a question. I have a 4th gen CPU that runs Windows 11 with no problems. Why is that possible? Your Windows 11 likely will not get any updates. So Microsoft, I have no idea what the logic is here. I can't even wrap my brain around a concept where this would be a good idea. But Microsoft is allowing people to install Windows 11 even if their systems don't meet the requirements. So now I guess Microsoft is changing the requirements to recommendation, and that if you don't meet the requirements, you just won't get any updates to Windows 11. So what's the point? Chester Hughes contributes $2. Thank you, Chester. I'm trying to see this other screen. It's too small for me to read it, but it looks like we're, what, about 85%? 84. All right, good. Once it gets through this part of the install, it'll need to reboot. And it'll be a longer reboot than normal, but it shouldn't take very long. Barry Russ with a $2 contribution. Thank you, Barry. Michael Dane, there's the man. Michael contributes $5. He says, great show, Carrie. Windows 11 is still unstable. Wait 6 months before using it. Let Microsoft fine-tune it. Yeah, well, the same could be said about this big update. As I mentioned, 21H2 just came out today. I'm not installing it on all my machines, but I did install it immediately on the machine in the back here, and so far I can't see any real difference. However, do know that anytime you jump to something that was just released, there could be issues that were overseen or simply overlooked. But the problems will be found by the first people who are stuck with it and have to deal with it. Whether we're talking Windows 11 or whether we're talking 21H2, you want to give the software, these big releases, a few months to be refined, fine-tuned, generally speaking. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't care if your computer is crashing, it doesn't bother you, you enjoy solving puzzles, and you enjoy being first, under all of those conditions, you still think that's worth it, by all means, go right ahead. But I come from a business world where if an office goes down and employees can't work and customers can't be helped, lots and lots of money gets lost every minute during business hours, and potentially after business hours when it comes to the network infrastructure. So understand that my advice, there's two different forms of advice. There's the form of advice if you rely on your computer, and it's critical to have it and use it. It's not a spare computer. It's not something you toy with. It's not a novelty. It's something very important to you. Probably best not to toy with it. That's all I'm saying. On the other hand, if there's no problem you can't solve and you enjoy being first and computer crashes don't scare you, well, then you don't need me to tell you anything, because no matter what I say, you already have your mind made up. So continue as you were. Oh, are we at the restart? David's telling me we have a restart. All right, let's do this. Full screen. Restart now. Okay. That screen resolution looks much higher than the screen here, so I'm not sure what this desktop is set at. Thanks in the chat room for letting me know to restart. We're doing that now. Eventually. There it goes. Michael Dane says, don't forget a Windows 7 key may still work for activating Windows 10. Yes, Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1 will activate Windows 10 or Windows 11. And Windows 10 will also activate Windows 11. So 7 and 8 will activate 10. 7 and 8 will activate 10. 7, 8, and 10 will activate 11. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, if you were shopping for a Windows 11 product key and it cost more money, let's say Windows 11 Pro versus Windows 10 Pro, if the Windows 10 Pro is cheaper, buy the Windows 10 Pro key and just pretend you bought a Windows 11 key. It's going to activate Windows 11 the same exact way. So why spend more for a Windows 11 key? Hey, there's Planet Cryos in the chat room, contributes $20. He says, good to see ya. To keep you in the loop, the hot dog build is moving to its own table to be used finally. Oh man, I thought you were using it the whole time. Oh, I'm sad now. I thought that thing was rocking it for you. It's got a rockin' hot dog. So we are on our first reboot after installing the Windows 10 21H2 update using the Windows Update Assistant because it wasn't offered to us in the traditional Windows Update check. But if it is available in Windows Update, it'll show up as an optional update. And then if you choose to install that, it only takes about 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't take as long as this process does. This is because we want to force it. So I'm not quite sure why it takes longer, but this was the same with 21H1, same behavior. Ash says, for a minor update, it sure is taking a long time. Oh, this is not a minor update. This is one of the 2 major updates that come out every year for Windows. This is the big update. However, they're going to stop doing this twice a year and they're going to do it once a year instead in the second quarter of the year. So yeah, make no mistake about it. This is a very big update. Chris wants to know if there'll be a way to refuse the Windows 11 upgrade. Well, you can refuse it now. You saw me click the X. However, Microsoft has a history of releasing an update that sort of renews the timer, and it'll start harassing you again. Their marketing is very aggressive at times, and I suspect we're going to see a lot more of that with Windows 11. So what I do on my machines is I don't enable the TPM in the BIOS, so the machine will come up in Windows Update. If you rewind this video, when we were just at the Windows Update in the control panel, it said this computer was not Windows 11 compatible. I want it to say that so that Windows 11 won't install on its own. Now, will a third party come out with a utility, or is there a utility? I'm not aware of one. If you are, please let me know. I do know there is a registry setting you can change. You flip a bit from 0 to 1, and that you won't get Windows 11 that way. I'm not promoting that at this time. Again, registry editing is more of a technical thing, and I'm trying to make my channel, as I mentioned, for the common everyday user. And I would not ask or expect the common everyday user to get into their registry and start manipulating the values in all of the subfolders. Again, there's more information about this update in the links below this video. And if you're interested in that, have at it. This update takes about an hour. That's what 60 says in the chat room. Maybe it will. How long have we been on? Been on nearly an hour. So, yeah, I think he's probably right. It's probably about an hour. Ray is asking what is happening to Acronis backup software. They are changing their name to Acronis Cyber Protect Home Office. Yeah, I think they changed their name last month. You'll have to ask Acronis what's going on. I don't work for them, so I don't know. Maybe Google that. I honestly, I don't agree with what they're doing. Acronis is getting now more into antivirus, and they're going in a direction that I find quite confusing. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed at what the direction they're taking the business. But, I'm not a shareholder, so they'll go on and do what they're going to do, and then I'll do what I got to do, which is find another cloning software I can use when the time comes. The Acronis 2021 that I've been using, that'll continue to work well for me as a rescue disk for, well, until the technology of the controllers change. So when that happens, then I'll have to find an updated piece of software that can see the controllers. So this Acronis rescue disk that I've made doesn't matter if you have the subscription or not. It'll continue to run indefinitely, as far as I know. That's how it's always worked in the past. William Dawson said it was about 30 to 40 minutes to update for me. Did not see any changes, except when I tried to turn the 6 gigahertz WPA3 setting on the router. It was not able to log on to the router. Yeah, that was supposed to be one of the things that was put in this update, was that WPA3 compatibility or something to deal with it working in any regard. But I haven't implemented WPA3 here yet. So once again, that's one of those things that I would wait a little while before going into my router and my security. But that's also because I also don't have any immediate threats that I'm aware of. If I lived in an apartment complex where my radio signal from my router was being broadcast to, you know, hundreds of people, I probably wouldn't even have Wi-Fi, to be honest, if I was in that situation. But certainly I would want to jump early into WPA3 or whatever the latest security is to make it that much more difficult for somebody to crack it. But if you live out in the sticks, or if you live somewhere where the houses are fairly separated or not so close together, I don't know that you have to absolutely be on the absolute latest security protocol of your Wi-Fi at as soon as possible. I don't know that the risk that is very much for you anyway, and that's in that environment. But if something does happen, I don't want you to blame me. So you do you if that's what you want to put in there. But I won't go to WPA3 for, I'm going to guess sometime in 2022. However, I will have JJ from ASUS here tomorrow to talk about their ASUS's wireless routers. And maybe there'll be some discussion of WPA3, and maybe after that discussion, JJ will have me convinced to change it right away. I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Lawn Dog says, Carrie, that new version of Acronis, do you know if it will work on files created on versions that are like 8 years old, or any of the older versions that you may have made images of? Yes, to the best of my knowledge, if you made a backup 8 years ago, will the latest version of Acronis read and restore that backup? It's my understanding the answer is yes. You just can't do it the other way around. You can't take an image that you made with Acronis 2021 and expect Acronis 2008 to be able to read and understand that image. So it's always backwards compatible, but it's never forwards compatible, if that makes any sense. It kind of made sense to me. Stealth Mode says, out in the sticks, we are finally getting fiber. Cannot wait till it's installed. Well, heck, I'm moving to the sticks then. Bob Connor says, Carrie, I just searched for updates and no 21H2 is available for me yet. Well, you could follow the steps we just did here, Bob, or you could just give it a few days or a couple weeks. William Dawson says WPA3 is better than open air for 6 gigahertz, the two settings on the router. So I'm not familiar with anything about 6 gigahertz, William. This is the first time hearing of it. So from what you're telling me, the 6 gigahertz is in addition to the 2.4 and the 5, in other words, a wireless 802.11a or AC, 802.11n. Give you some examples. I don't know the name for a 6 gigahertz. I don't know the range of the 6 gigahertz. But what you're telling me is the 6 gigahertz, for the few routers that have it, because I'm not aware of any that do, they have no security for it. It's just open until now. Is that what you're saying? Hey, our update finished. We'll click OK on that. Or exit rather, we click exit. Now if I right click and go to properties here, should see that we've got Windows 21H2. Yep, right there, 21H2. Everything else looks good. So it really shouldn't take as long as it took me, again, if you do it through the Windows Update site, but you'll have to wait until it becomes available. This, you can do it right now if you want to. What I want to do is take out the Windows Update Assistant. I won't need that again. So I'm going to go to the apps, click on Windows Update Assistant, and uninstall it. I don't like having any extra unneeded software consuming resources and clogging my start menu. So it's my OCD. Take it out of there. It's a free download. If I ever want to put it back, it's free to just grab it. It's tiny. It installs in a second. So yeah, I take that off. It's nice and clean. And now this computer is updated. So we can look back at the video from when I started the update to when it finished, and we can accurately gauge how much time that took, because this is a live, unscripted, and unedited video. And to keep this short, well, there it is in the chat. Peter Romano says, Carrie, the update took 50 minutes. So just 10 minutes shy of an hour. And this is a brand new build. This is an i9 9900K in there. So your time might be a little longer, or maybe a little better if you've got something with higher specs than this. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. I wanted to keep this one a bit shorter to just focus really on this November update. Remember, this is the last of the biannual updates. It's going to go to just an annual update, one big update a year. And they're planning it for the second quarter of the year. So we'll see what happens. I'm not quite sure when to believe Microsoft, but that's the expectation they've set. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys again for your contributions and support throughout the broadcast. A shout out and a special hello to Jose. I talked to Jose today on the phone. He's an absolute delight. He's telling me he's 75 years old, and he just built like an 11850 or no, it was a 10850K, 128 gigabytes of RAM. You know, he's just spouting this other stuff. He said he built the 8-year build and gave that, I think he said, to his grandkids. So this is like the 4th or 5th computer he's built. And, you know, I asked him, you know, can I send you one of these extra computers I've got here? You know, you've been so kind. And he's like, nope, don't need it. Give it to somebody who needs it. I was like, wow, that's awesome. So he's been a very generous a very generous contributor here for some time. And I always seem to have trouble communicating, like he's not getting my emails. So I finally got to talk to him on the phone today. He's a super cool dude and very inspirational. His computer is better than mine. So what are you going to do? The student has become the teacher. Daniel Ramirez contributes $4.99. Thank you, Daniel. All right, guys, let me get out of here. Thanks again for watching. I should probably go full screen. Why is my full screen not working? There I am. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow with JJ from ASUS. He's going to join us. I think it's at 2:30 p.m., 2:30 in the afternoon, California time. Yeah, that's when we're going to do it. And I'm going to create a subscription alert for that as soon as I'm done here. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all very, very soon. Until then, bye for now.